If you grew up in the early 2000s, there's a good chance that you know these three. And if you do know these three and you are someone that loves car culture and has been a massive car fanatic for the most part of your life, there's a good chance that if you're on this page as well, you played a couple of games relating to these cars. I remember playing a lot of Need for Speed back in the day because that was more my vibe. But as I got older, my interest started to shift. I started looking for those more realistic experiences, the experiences that have you on a track and have you have the ability to actually fine-tune your cars in a more realistic manner. And that's when I started landing on the Gran Turismo series. But what do these three and Gran Turismo have to do with one another? Well, if you remember back, a little bit further back than I would like to admit, there was actually an episode where Jeremy Clarkson raced on Gran Turismo 4 on PS2 a specific car around a specific track and then did it in real life. Now, as awesome as it would be to do it in real life, because this car that he raced is something that I have a great affinity towards, it's something that I love very much. I obviously don't have that capability, maybe someday very far in the future, but for today what I can do is I can try beat Jeremy Clarkson's time that he set on Gran Turismo 4 on the PS2. But what was that time and what was the car? What was the circuit? Luckily for us, he did tell us most of these things. So when you hop into the video, you'll see that it's Laguna Seca in California, America, which is a very famous track for a very famous corkscrew turn that is almost the death of me, but having practiced it for many, many, many years, I can confidently say I'm not as bad as I was. And in this video, thankfully, there was no major incidents on that corkscrew. But what about the car? Now, the car is something that is very special to me. I love this car. It always has been my favorite. Granted, my favorite version of the car is actually the 1992 version and not the 2002 or 2003 version that Jeremy Clarkson drove. And if you haven't guessed it yet, it is the Honda NSX. And specifically, in the video, he says it's the NSX and doesn't classify or clarify whether or not it's the Type R or the non-Type R. But if you watch what he does, he actually goes into the arcade mode, and if you go into the arcade mode on Gran Turismo 4, there is only the Type R available. So it is kind of safe to assume that he did it in the Type R. So I'm going with that. We're going with the Honda NSX Type R because I don't think Jeremy Clarkson would have sat through the Gran Turismo mode and earned enough money to purchase the NSX. So now we've established what car he had, the track he had, but what about his time? And his time was actually quite good. It was a 141.168, or 148, excuse me, which is really good. It's a really fast lap around this track, and if I were to beat it, I could easily just do this. Now I hear you, but you're doing this in Gran Turismo 7 and you're doing it with a tuned NSX Type R. And you are correct. So what about if I did this? So that was first of all the upgraded version of the NSX Type R 2002 that I used, and then you saw the stock standard one. I tried to make it as close to the original as possible, and both times I beat the time. It wasn't too difficult for me. However, if I wanted to beat the time and I wanted to be actually proud of it, I think it is necessary that we go back and we do it on the original hardware, exactly how Jeremy did it. So without further ado, let's hop into that. So first of all, we got to select our car, and if you want more proof that Jeremy used the NSX Type R, just look at the wing in the video that he did. You can see that the wing is clearly the Type R wing, so I am more than confident in doing this with the Type R. But that is where my confidence ends, because lap after lap after lap, section after section after section, I would be going through the motions. I thought I'd have it this time, and then I just couldn't quite make it all stick together. There was some where I had really good section A's, and then section B was terrible, section 3 was good, then section A was good, or it just all messed up. Nothing was flowing together as it should be. I just kept getting it wrong. Maybe I got a little bit too confident in one of the corners and I thought, okay, this is it, I'm going to make it this time. and then the ghost would just speed past me and I just missed that time, and it was demoralizing. Every time I wanted to get it right, I just couldn't quite get it the way I wanted to. Some laps I got much better. You can see that I had some really good times that were really close, and it just wasn't happening for me, and I kept feeling even more demoralized. There was actually a point where I was like, okay, I'm actually going to give up and say at the end of this video that maybe we should make a part 2. Maybe this is just not happening for us. Maybe it wasn't meant to be. And then I kind of just thought about it, and I thought about Jeremy Clarkson's most important words: speed and power. And that's what I did. I used my mental power and I powered through, and at the speed of the car I eventually got it right, and I am thrilled. You can even hear the sigh of relief at the end of this clip where I actually managed to make this stick. Now I'm not going to sit here and tell you this was easy, because that is far from the truth. Last night when I did this, last night before I realized that I had done this and I got the complete wrong time, I thought this was easy. I did this quite quickly and I had the wrong time. I thought it was 1:48, not 1:41.148. So that 8 seconds, or the 7 seconds that I had to come down, is a lot. And in racing terms, anyone that knows racing games or racing terms knows this is a lot, and I struggled. This was more difficult than I thought it was going to be, and the biggest limiting agent that I found was this. Now, first of all, you might be thinking, why is this such a big problem? It's not particularly the DualSense or DualShock 2 that's the problem. It's the fact that you have to use it opposite to how you use a DualSense. Now, a DualSense is built in such a way that the triggers are pressure sensitive. So the more pressure you put on, the more speed you get. The DualShock 2 doesn't have that. So while yes, it would be a good idea for me to swap the X and square buttons to L1 and L2, no, L2 and R2, because then I would have the same functionality and it wouldn't be swapped around. That isn't the case, because these two are not pressure sensitive. X and square are pressure sensitive, so I needed them to be my accelerate and brake. And then my gear up and gear down was R2 and L2. If you're not seeing the problem yet, the problem here is my brain is wired to think that R2 and L2 is accelerate and brake, not shift up and shift down. Shift up and shift down are X and square. So my brain was doing all the wrong things for me to get this lap time properly. Then when I eventually had figured this out, you will have seen it still didn't make much of a difference. I was struggling. A wrong gear shift, an incorrect turn, braking at the wrong point and then turning into the corner and missing the apex. Any little thing that I got wrong was catastrophic to my lap time. You would see that sometimes I would get the beginning parts perfect and I would be right on track. I would be 0.5 of a second down and I'd be ready to beat the time, and then I'd mess up somewhere later in the track. This is how difficult these lap times are. And I'm not gonna lie, it was difficult and I actually had a lot of fun doing it. This is something that I haven't done before and I was really thrilled doing it. You can actually hear me sighing, my sigh of relief at the end once I got the time. Once I got the time, it was insane. I felt like this pressure had been lifting off. And as a matter of fact, give me a sec, I'm now still paranoid to the fact where I haven't even taken it off the screen yet. So I don't know if you can see it behind me, if I can change the focus. It's still on the TV and I don't really feel like taking it off. Let's put the focus back on me. So it has been an incredible journey and I had a lot of fun doing it. And I am tired now, so please make sure you like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more. If you want me to do it in the original NSX, not the Type R, as Jeremy said he did, even though he didn't, make sure you like, make sure you comment down below, make sure you want to see that video. Say we hit 500 likes, I will do my best to make that video happen, because I think that will be even more challenging, having less power, having less of a race type car. Still the same car, just not exactly 100% as good as the one that we were driving today. So if you want to see that video, make sure you like, subscribe, stay tuned. Obviously, make sure you share this video so we can hit 500 likes. But yeah, let me know if that is something you want to see. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I am now tired. I'm going to go take a nap. Cheers.